What up, great people? It's Pastor G. I'm back in the house. I'm excited about it. We're a few minutes, just a few seconds before we actually get things kicked off, and I wanted to talk to my Facebook people first, give you guys the heads up, let you know we are live. I want you to begin to share us with your family members. Those that are not on social media, tell them we're on radio today, 103.3, 105.5, and 1380 AM. We're about to jump this thing off, and it's going to be an exciting day. I'm excited about that. I'm waiting on Lady T.
Good morning, great people. Great people.
Here she comes. She's back in the house.
Here we go. 5.5 K288EZ, FM 103.3, K277 DP. Rejoice, Little Rock's Gospel Experience.
It's time now for Midday Manna here on Rejoice with the broadcast of Network of Believers. Lunchtime Uplift with Pastor Eugene Whitmore and Lady Teresa Whitmore. The Network of Believers Church is located at 1111 West 7th Street here in the city of Little Rock. Here's Lady T and Pastor G.
Blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon blessings. We're excited about another day, another opportunity to share the Word of God and to be with our radio listeners as well as our social media listeners today. I'm excited about that. God is doing some great things. I asked the question just a second ago to everybody that was in the room. Are you expecting God to do something great, incredible, over the top? I hope so. I hope all of you guys on radio and Radio Land as well as social media are expecting something great. And what I mean, to be specific, I want you to expect something much larger than you have expected before.
You have to. Yes.
I want it to be a lot bigger.
Yes.
Let's just call it bigger.
Yes.
I want bigger. And there's nothing wrong with expecting more, especially if you are connected to unlimited resources. Your Father in heaven, which you are that man's baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I say man, it's figurative.
Yes.
You are his child.
Yes.
Yes, he is your papa.
Amen.
And so if he's your papa and he's got it, he puts a requirement on you. Actually, it expresses his papaship.
Okay.
Can I say papaship?
Amen.
And I says
He's
fatherhood. Great. It validates his papaism.
Yeah.
I'm making up words today, but I want you to
Nice.
see it. It validates when his child boldly come to the throne
Amen.
and say, "Dad, here's my need."
And
know
only
it.
your child can.
Yes, here's my need. I'm not even questioning if you got it. I'm not even questioning if you want to give it to me.
Hand down.
Here I am. I got some needs. Now I put an S on the end of needs.
Amen.
Because it's more than one.
Big.
And so he wants you to come ask with boldness because you are his child. I'm Pastor G.
I'm Lady T.
Pastor Joel.
We are the proud pastors of Network of Believers, 1111 West 7th Street, downtown Little Rock, Arkansas, 9 a.m. on Sundays, 6:20 p.m. on Tuesdays. That's called 110 Tuesday, where information is in abundance. Go
Amen.
ahead.
It's another day's journey, and I'm so glad.
Yes.
So glad that God allowed me to be
Yes.
right here where I am.
Yes.
Because I know that the destiny that He's prepared for me,
Yes.
I've pre-qualified for it.
Amen.
The girl,
What you got?
pre-qualified.
Well, good morning, great people all over. God's been so good. He's still so good and will always be so good. And it's definitely a privilege and an honor to be with these beautiful pastors. They are so great. They are great in heart and mind and souls. I thank God for allowing us to come in touch with each other. And very powerhouse. Very powerhouse. So I thank God for that. And I just want to say before we get started, since you pre-qualified, then you can't go in like the 10 spies. The 10 spies, they seen themselves defeated when God had already pre-qualified them to take the land. If they seen some big old things over there, but God was like, yeah, you can already have that. Everything over there is big. But they disqualified themselves in their eyes and then had the nerve to say, in their eyes, we're defeated. How can you see from somebody else's
Come
view?
on.
But God is amazing. But this is the point I wanted to get to you, is that when God, he was so angry at the time that he was ready to get rid of him, and he told Moses, I'll just make you a greater nation. But so I want you to have that in mind when you go up against any kind of transition or whatever, when you're going after your dream. If it's too big, just remember, if you can't take it, you'll make God mad. But he's not mad anymore, though, because he put it all on the Son, Jesus. But just have that in mind.
Yes, he urgently, in other words, he urgently want us to get more than we got.
Amen.
He want us to get more than we got.
Stretch yourself.
I was telling somebody, the option is not really yours. Now you can make a decision on it,
Amen.
but you don't have the option.
Amen.
You can make a decision, but
Amen.
the options are not there. To be mediocre,
Amen.
to be regular, when you are the byproduct of God Himself. We carry the DNA
Amen.
of the Creator of the universe.
Oh my God, how
Creator.
huge.
And so, to piggyback off what Pastor Joel said, that is an interesting numbers. I think it's 14. I think it's 14. 13, 14. How they say in our sight we were as grasshoppers, and also in their sight. Now you're a spy. They don't even know you're there.
Right.
So how can you speak for? You were sent over there Moses gave them distinct directive. Go over there and see what the land looked like. Don't talk to them.
Amen.
Because you're going to talk to them, you're going to take on the character of the land.
Amen.
You're going to bring the mentality over there. I don't need you to look at the challenges there, because you're going to take over.
Yeah.
So don't let them tell you, don't have conversation with the defeated.
Amen. Amen.
Don't have a conversation with the
been
defeated, because you are going over there to take over something. They are supposed to have defeated language, because you are the takeover agent.
Yeah.
And so they might come from a different perspective. And so what we're saying to you today, to everybody that's listening to the sound of our voice, you're living in a different time. The failures of your past will not be the failures of your future.
Amen.
You don't have to look up and live. Now, if you have not shared me, now is the time to start sharing, because I'm about to jump into something that we started on Wednesday. I'm pre-qualified. It's an interesting scenario that we made in the testimony. When we were first looking for our first home, we started searching on faith. We didn't have any money. But by faith, because we were faith people, we were taught faith. So we went out looking. And so we started to settle because we didn't have financing. And so we started looking in places after an extensive search and getting turned down. We started saying, well, we just want a house. And it doesn't matter where the house is. And I think that's the posture of faith walkers when you don't have the true information.
Yeah.
You start accepting and living in areas of your life and in time, spaces in your life that you are bigger than. You are much larger than.
Amen.
And so as a consequence to that, we waited a bit, and then we went under someone's direction. We said, well, let's go to a finance officer and see if we pre-qualify for anything. And we did. And this young man went to work by the power of God. And it was the power of God, because at the moment I was in bankruptcy. And the only credit I had was the fact that I paid my $13 a week bankruptcy.
My God.
And God financed me.
Yes.
This was 20, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It might not seem like a lot now, but at the time, God gave us about $90,000 pre-credit. And so my search changed, because now it allowed me, again today, that might not sound like a lot. I believe it would be the equivalence of now 250, 300,000, somewhere in that range. And so now our search changed. We started putting in our information in a different search engine.
All right now.
Come on.
Yeah.
And we were very ticky, because if it did not have what I wanted or what I saw in my mind, I did not have to settle, because I'm qualified. I know how much I got to spend.
Amen.
Now, Psalms 24, verse number 1, for those of you that don't know, you have been pre-qualified by your Father in heaven. Now, here's what we must understand. The scripture starts out by saying, the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world,
And they that dwell therein.
and so when it says the fullness thereof, it's interesting how it's constructed. Why? Because there are some things that are in the earth that have not manifested itself.
Come on.
So it wants you to know that what you see
That's
and
it.
what you don't currently see, both of them belong to
That's
the Lord.
it.
That's what faith is.
Yeah.
It's what you see. So for those of you that are in search and you don't see, he says don't sweat it. because it is in there.
Yeah.
And when you are ready for it, he says, I let it grow into your life. So that's what we are saying in the pre-qualification. Facebook, radio, you have been pre-qualified, pre-approved. You are already there. You are already pre-approved. Now, I want to get into this real quick. Share. Now, Wednesday, we was talking about a visitation. We preference the life of Jacob. I think that's an interesting life, because most time when people talk about a story, they don't see the entirety of the story, because they won't do the historical content of the story. They don't exegete. They don't hermeneutic. They don't do any of the science, so they don't know. They just look at face value, then they put the 2020 twist on it, and then they are concocting something that is not actually true. So Jacob's life, he was called the supplanter, deceiver, heel grabber. We know that's part of the story. But we refuse to go back and look at the story when his mother got a prophecy from the Lord saying that in your womb you got two nations, two natures. Amen. It's an out of order assignment. This birthing is an out of order assignment. In other words, the younger is going to rule the older. Under normal circumstances, the older would have the dominion, but this case, the younger. So that's the out of order. And then we read in Romans chapter 9, 11, it says the children, before they could make any decision, God had already made a decision about them, that the younger or the elder shall serve the young. Esau I hated, but Jacob I love. Now that's God saying, but I can't get into the text. I want you to know that while you are in journey to being everything God has said, he people that are chosen for specifics and major always have an unusual journey. It's a strange journey. So there's many people that listen to the sound of my voice right now. You are in a strange journey, and if you try to process this based off the systems and ideas that you're currently in, you're going to be confused for a long time. It's just where it is. And so our major struggle has been trying to put this unusual in the usual box. It's not supposed to be there. And so God has given us courage in this season to be able to say, I'm not fitting in that box. I'm not even going to try. I'm me, I'm unusual, and that's the way I'm going with it. And once I will embrace that, God will grace that. And he does not even give me the people that are next to me or on my level until I embrace it personally.
Yes.
I got to see it. Yeah. And when I see it, God, and I embrace it and say, well, this is going to be strange. God says, now I grace it, and now I show you all the other strangers.
Right.
So even in the text of Abraham, we have to look at this as it truly is. That's why we search in Scripture again. Now knowledge is coming. God says to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he says, I'm going to bless you in a land wherewith thou art a stranger. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to not be a stranger. Is actually defying the blessed order. Amen. The enemy comes in and say, I want to make you get into groups that you are familiar with. But that's against the blessed order. People that are walking into dominion and major things are strangers. Your strangeness is the thing that qualifies you by God. Please hear me, people. And so I want to jump in right there. And so in this story, again, we talked about Jacob. When God is ready for you to leave a house, customarily what we do is we lock ourselves in from enemies in our house. We got a refuge, a safe room, a safe house that we can lock ourselves from the world. But there's a time when God gives our enemy the key to the house. So Jacob could normally lock himself in and find comfort, but Esau's got a key. Yes. So you can't lock in the house. Esau, the enemy, is there to make sure you leave your comfort.
Stir the nest.
You got to get out of here, because there's a destiny that awaits you, and you'll never experience it until you get outside the familiar. Are y'all listening to me today? Yeah. You got to get outside. Facebook, radio, you guys got to get outside of the familiar. Don't be afraid. Don't be apprehensive. Have apprehension in here, because God is moving you. It's a divine order. You're going to be blessed in a place where you feel strange. You are building something. God is sending agents to strange lands to build something, to start something, because he wants you to be the difference. When people notice that you're different and they inquire your difference, if you come in familiar, they don't ask you. They say that, and they're just one of us. But he's trying to send a difference, and that's what you are. And so we understand in the story of Jacob as he leaves. The scripture says, and I'm just going back over, rehearsing this part because I need you to hear this. Reviewing this part, I need you to hear this. So when he leaves, he finds himself, the Bible says that the sun went down on that day. There's a sun going down on the day. He finds himself in a very rough, difficult place. But he notices in a rough, difficult place that he's got his dream back.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes you being uncomfortable to get your dream back.
Yes.
And so now he's dreaming again. He's seeing angels. Now, it's interesting how this text is constructed. It says he sees angels
Ascending.
before angels would.
Decent.
Now, why is that important that I understand that? Because you got to send some things up
Yes.
and get some things out before some things come in.
Amen.
The things that you're familiar with. You got to get that out of the way. People that are listening to me are in a season where it seems like they're losing important things. Well, the thing was important based off where you are now. But where God is taking you, is that thing is not going to be important. He'll download that when you get to the strange place.
Yes,
You start downloading. And so don't feel bad because something important. God says you would have never searched if I never took that from you.
Amen.
So I'm taking it from you so you'll inquire. And now we're discovering that since I inquire, I'm finding that what I thought I lost, I never lost. It was just God's search method placed in me. So now here's what's interesting. I gotta move. Here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. You can still share me. Here's what's interesting. Here it is. Jacob gets a visitation there. And so when I was reading this the other day, I was arrested there because the Spirit of the Lord says this. It says that visitations are not what we always thought they were. We thought that was a highly spiritual moment when we have a visitation, and so we are scared because we're looking for this. But a visitation can feel so strange because God will always find you in the place of your roughest part of the journey.
Yes.
Now that's why it's important. I got to reiterate, review this, and really push this. Let this, as Jesus says, sink deep into your spirit.
Yeah.
Romans 5, verse number 8 says this. It says, but God commended his love toward us in that. I like how to put the in that.
Yeah.
Now, it says, now please pay attention.
Yeah.
God commended his love toward us in that.
Yeah.
Now, in what? In that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Now, that's emphasizing something. He will always find me in the rough place to commend his love.
Amen.
So for those of you who think that he can't find me here, he says,
Yeah.
I always find you in the place where you will come to the end
End of yourself.
of yourself.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like the Sabbaths. It says, and on another Sabbath, Jesus worked a miracle, and they mad at him because on Sabbath. I always ask the question, why is it that he just repeatedly want to defy their law?
Yeah.
Or the law. Now, he's born in the law, but he defies the law on another Sabbath.
Right.
And it emphasized Sabbath. So one day I was reading that, the Lord arrested me there. It says on the Sabbath. Sabbath is the day that is required by law for you to stop working.
All right.
And every day you stop working is the day he started working.
Come
on.
He can't help himself. If you're going to come to a place of rest, he says, then I'm going to pick up the torch and I'm going to start doing some things.
Yeah.
And so this is important. Every time I find myself in a place and I render myself happy, and you say, I'm just throwing up my hands, he says, how? Why did it take so long?
Amen.
You
Amen.
cannot
Amen.
do this without.
Amen.
So for those of you that are in a rough place, you throwing up your hands, you're in a good posture.
Praise.
That's the place.
You're in a good
Praise.
posture. Get ready for God to do some tremendous things. Now,
Amen.
we understood that in this place, that was just the beginning. God in visitation is strange because you don't think God can visit you there because your doctrine has told you he ain't interested in it. But you find him meeting you there. You're dreaming again. You're seeing things that you didn't see in the familiar places. He says everything looks same and familiar. I have to do something different so it could get your attention, Moses. I seen the bush that was not consumed. The bush wasn't burning, it was a fire in the bush. I just needed to get your attention so you'll look again.
Right.
Once you look again, I start
I
talking.
got you. I got you.
And so here it is, he's in visitation, and the Lord is saying something powerful to him. Visitation, all of you that have found yourself in an incredible place, God will always commend his love while I'm in this place. And then he says, this is the visitation. What is visitation time? Visitation time is where you negotiate with God. Now, most will think that this time I'm not qualified to negotiate with God because of my circumstance.
No.
And he says, I'm finding you when you're in your circumstance.
Right.
I'm commending love and saying, let's talk. And so Jacob gets up and he says, oh, I almost missed this moment based off my teaching.
Yeah.
He says, surely the Lord was in this place.
Yeah.
But since I've been called a heel grabber, a supplanter, a deceiver, I didn't think God could be in my place.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm in a rough place, but I discovered God is in my place. And now he makes a pact. It says he wakes up and he says, now, let's make a decree. If you take me out, and you feed me, you take care of me, you supply all of my needs, and bring me back here, then I'll call you my God.
Amen.
And God says, you have not did anything outside of my power and request. I wanted you to depend on me when you can't depend on yourself.
Amen.
Or when you think I'm not qualified. He says, this is
my God.
pre-qualified. I didn't qualify you at your speaking. I qualified you before you were able to.
Foundation.
Ain't that powerful, man? That's something that make the hair rise on your head. Now watch this. So visitation is the time that we negotiate with God. That's why, again, Isaiah 1:18-19 says, "Oh, your sins be as scarlet. I'm going to wipe them."
Yeah.
And then 19th verse says, "If you be willing and obedient,
come on,
you can eat good.
Quid pro quo."
Yeah. You're going to eat good in the land.
That's a pretty. That is
good.
That's the true definition of quid pro quo.
Amen.
Is if you do this. Now he said, if you be willing and obedient, follow my direction, you will eat the good of the land. Now he's talking to Jacob, who is in destiny, who's in journey. He's going to destination. Right. Now listen to what he's saying to them. To him, he says in Isaiah, he said, if you be willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. Now, if you're in journey, that should tell you something, right? What should it say? Not the current place that you are, where I'm about to take you.
Keep going. Keep going.
Where I'm going to send you to.
Amen.
Where you didn't think that you could go. If you get over there and you're obedient, every enemy that's in that land,
my God,
you're going to eat the good. That's a very Numbers 13. That's what we talk about.
Amen.
He says, go over there and spy out the land that you're going to eat the good of.
Yes.
Amen.
I don't care who over there. I don't care how big they are. If you be willing and obedient, you get over there, you're going to eat. As a matter of fact, they know you're coming.
Amen.
Jericho was straightway closed.
Come on.
And their hearts was already melted.
Melted because you think you are in trouble and God says, I'm giving you a testimony. You are looking at this as trouble. You know, you like the Hebrew boy children in the fiery furnace. Yeah. They didn't see the extra man, but the king did. Amen. You might think you in the fire and you don't see nobody, but there's somebody watching. Yeah. They see you. So their heart is the fire. That's praise God. That's a revelation. Their hearts are melting because they see you in the fire and you didn't melt. You were not succumbed by depression. You're bigger and better than you think that you are. I gotta move on, y'all, because I could go there. I can go there. And so now Jacob gets to, in journey, he has the visitation. He says, God, take me out, bring me back in, feed me, clothe me, and then you're gonna be my God. He says, deal. Let's roll. He goes and then he runs into Rachel, story, at Laban's his uncle's house. And then we have to understand something. We have to be very careful that people that try to put our life back in order. Jacob sees Rachel falls in love, but he goes to work for her. But at the end of his work period, he gets Leah. Right. Now the Bible says Leah cross-eyed or whatever she is. She got it. She got tangle-eyed. She blue-eyed. One eye blue that. Baby, okay, I know. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, the context is this. I'm just joking, y'all. Please stay with me now. Don't get upset when I shut y'all. The context, the thing is, she had limited vision.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. He's unusual. The father-in-law can't validate the unusualness, and so he says it's never been like this in our country that the younger daughter is married before the older daughter. Now it's never been in Jacob's country that the young son is going to have dominion over the older. So now he's in his order, because when you are out of order, God's going to send you to people that out of order. Be very careful of those people that try to put you back into a normal order when God has already from birth put you out of order. And so what happens under the leadership and under the trusting of someone he trusted, a mentor, his father-in-law, so many times we get in trouble because we trust in people that we think got our best interests in mind. They're looking out for us. Well, as a consequence of him not looking out for himself, he's stuck in the bed of somebody that can't see at all.
Amen.
And so under this directive of Laban, his father-in-law, he has been put in the bed and reproducing with something that's got limited vision. How many times at someone else's design have we been stuck in the bed and now we're reproducing with somebody that's got limited to no vision? Limited to none. And so we are coming out in the season because we are unusual. God is showing us we're going to have the audacity to step outside the acceptable box. Amen.
We can do it.
We can.
Yes.
For those of you that are scared, for those of you scared right now, this might not be your time. I'm not talking to everybody. I'm aware that I'm not talking to everybody, but I am talking to somebody that need to hear this on this day. This is such a strange season. Let me throw this in. This is such a strange moment that we are being right now ushered into. The timing is right for a different ushering in this season. And what we got to be very careful. I just said something. Your greatest war is being able to say to your mentor that God led me in a different direction. Oh my goodness. David, the greatest battle was not Goliath. It was being able to tell Saul, his mentor, that what you have tried to supply me with, I have not proved that. I can't use it. It restricts. That's the war that you got to get over that determines all of your battles.
Yeah.
And there's many right now that's under the sound of my voice. God has shifted your order. You are strange, but you're trying to fit inside a box that you've been trying to fit in your whole life.
Come on, you Joshua and Caleb's.
Listen to me. This is a new order. Joshua, as I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. Not as Moses was, so shall he be. Two different things.
Amen.
Oh, well, let me go there then. Let me read this. Let me read this. Because this is, I got to interject this, people. I got to Hebrews chapter number 7. Oh, thank you, Lord. 7, verse number 13. I need you to see this. There's a different priesthood. There's a different priesthood. I need you to see this. I need you to see this real quick. And I'm getting back to my original teaching. Listen to this. Listen. This is 12th verse, 7:12. For the priesthood being changed. There are people that are now walking under a new priesthood. Hear me. Hear me. Jesus was priest after the order of Melchizedek. In other words, this is a whole different order.
Amen.
This is not under the Levitical order.
Amen.
The law, the system. And the text says here that if the Levitical was the order that should be the order, he says, well, why is there another priesthood? Now, interesting. So 7 verse says, for the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. Now, here's what I got to understand. Let me unpack this really quick. That if I'm walking under a different priesthood, I've got to be saying some different words.
Amen.
Because if you say that you are a son of a season and you're still saying the same thing that you said in the past season, you have a problem. If the priesthood, if you recognize I'm a unique individual under a priesthood, then change. It is incumbent upon me to hear revelation or present truth. Because if the priesthood is changed and I'm strange, then I can't be speaking the same thing.
Amen.
Because I'm going to be speaking out of order. That's why I can't teach that. I can't go there. That's why Jesus says the law and the prophets were until John.
Amen.
God in sundry times and in diverse places spoke to us by the prophets, but in this day he's speaking to us by Son, which is under a new priesthood. And I've got to understand this. Why? Because if I'm not, then the familiar and the same old I don't want to make nobody mad. I said the same old, but this is scripture. If there's a change in the priesthood, and there is,
yes, it is.
There must be a change in what we say.
Yes.
We have to have revelation.
Yes.
This is why we're seeing right now, it appears that the enemy is taking over the earth. Because we refuse to change the priesthood. Because the whole earth is moaning and groaning, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of the season. So if there's a change in priesthood, there must be a change in what we say. And so there's a voice from the past that's trying to snuff out the voice of the future. Because the voice of the right now has got power. When they speak, God honors it because they're the son of a season.
Yes.
And so if there's a change in the priesthood, there must be a change in what we say. You can say the same thing as you said and not ever be effective. When someone that is assigned for a season speak, God honors it because there's a prophetic order for the right now.
Amen.
I don't want to be too heavy right here, but I got to tell you. And so that's why he says, I will do nothing unless I first alert my servants, the prophets. But what's happening, there's a priesthood or a prophetic order that is being raised that is not allowed to speak.
Yes.
They are so honorable that they won't say what God is telling them.
Yes.
Afraid that if I say it, that's going to offend.
My
But
God.
Jesus says very clearly, all will be offended.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Because when you're shifting and changing and taking
It's a
and
variance.
removing orders, it's going to offend.
Amen.
That's a part of the package.
Amen.
And Jesus says this to John, who was born under the law, who is the forerunner for him. Stay with me now. He's a forerunner. When he is in prison, he hears of this Jesus that comes.
Come on.
And it's so messed up his order that he sends his disciples to ask him, are you the one? Should we be looking for another? Because he's heard there's a woman that was caught in the very act of adultery and he let him go. Can this be?
Yeah.
Because under the law, in the order, she's got to die.
Yeah.
But he's letting people go.
Yeah.
And Jesus says, I can't answer that verbally. He says, well, tell him what you saw.
Amen.
Because only the Messiah can do what you see.
Yeah.
And they go back, and when they get ready to leave, to go back and tell John what they saw, he stopped them and he says, blessed is he that is not offended in me.
In me. Amen.
Offended is a word in Greek called scandalon.
Yeah.
That means a trigger of a trap.
Yeah.
He says, blessed is he that is not trapped in the old when I'm trying to introduce something new.
Amen.
Come on.
Amen.
Blessed is he that is not. And so now we have a different priesthood. So he says there's a change in law. He says for those of you that are upset because the law has changed, you can't get upset with the people that are speaking. Get upset with God if you're going to get it. Because it's God's design. It's not
Amen.
mine. It's
Amen.
done. Now watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Let me put something else in there. Because if the priesthood being changed, there is made a necessity of change also in the law. What we say. The order now is changed. Now watch this. 13th verse is where the real emphasis should be put. Watch the 13th verse. It says, for he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another
Tribe.
It's not the usual tribe.
Another tribe.
This is another tribe. This is an unusual tribe. We know the system before was this established tribe. But he whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance
at the altar.
Woo-wee. So your priesthood is not based on somebody else going to the altar for you.
Come on.
They can't determine that. It was, I ordained you. But this season is a direct ordination from God.
Yeah.
So that means that nobody can give it to you. Nobody can take it away.
Amen.
Oh my God. And so this releases the Jacobs that are in journey that are confused because you've been called a heel grabber, you've been called a supplanter, you've been called a deceiver. And God says, before you entered into your mother's womb, I already told Rebecca that you were the one. I already said in Romans chapter 9, starting at verse 11, that you were the one. So stop trying to validate yourself with people. Do what I told you to do. Now hear me. So after the visitation Jacob gets, he's endorsed by God. And God says, deal, let's go. He gets to Laban. You know the story. Now, I need the pre-qualified people to hear me because this could be the strangest time of your life. Even after visitation, him endorsing you and telling you what he desires out of you and blessing you, here's what you got to know. This does not eliminate the weight.
Amen.
We thought, I got the endorsement of God. He said yes. So now everything is going to be smooth sailing. It does not. It does not eliminate the weight. Y'all got to hear me here. It does not eliminate the weight. This wait period is the period that prepares you for the throne that he promised you when he gave you the visitation while you were on the run.
Yes.
So now watch this. 1 Samuel chapter 16, David gets the oil poured on him. He was of another tribe. He was not even in the house. So Samuel going to go through Eliab. He's going to go Abinadab. He's going to go Shammah. Come on, Shammah. he goes through 4 other guys, and then he's trying. Look here. He's got the horn shaking it, and it won't run. And he says, "There's a problem here, Houston. We got a problem.
Yeah.
All these guys look like it,
Good looking,
but something's wrong.
Yeah.
Is there another? Is there a priest that is not of this order?" He said, "Oh my God, there's a boy back in the back." I was confused by that because if you think your son or your child ain't gonna do nothing, he should be the first one in line. Get that one ain't gonna do nothing, put him in line. Because the prophet says a king in the house, and this boy's gonna have a hard time his whole life. So get him in the house so that for those of you that are strange and out of line, because I could really preach on that right there. I could go down there because David was ruddy. Ruddy means red.
Yeah.
Jewish people are a real proud people, and they if you don't look like them, they don't want. But see, David was different because red is the picture of a Moabite. So he looks more like Ruth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who got with Boaz.
Yeah.
They had Obed.
Come on.
They had Jesse.
Come on.
They had David.
Bring it on.
And so he looks like her. So he looks strange. So they push him to the back. But there's some strange looking people.
Amen.
That oil ain't running
Amen.
until you get it. So Samuel the prophet is shaking that thing. And it won't come. And David comes and that oil flows like it never flowed before. He's doused with oil. I can preach that. Jesus says the harlots and the sinners going to get me before. Because we got to understand when you was talking about those spies. See, they sent out those spies. Joshua did, and 2 of those spies met this harlot named Rahab. Right?
Yeah.
And one of the spies, you go read the story. You can read in Matthew chapter 1 verse 5. It talks about Simon who fell in love with Rahab, has a baby. The baby is named. What's his name? His name is Boaz. Well, here it is. Ruth comes from the sinners called the Moabite. Well, here it is. A product of a harlot, Boaz, marry a sinner from Moab. They get together and they have Obed, then Jesse, and then David. And so Jesus says the harlots and the sinners will understand me before y'all do. Why? Because my grandma, great-grandma was a harlot.
Come on.
I'm just saying that we got to get this
That's it.
out.
Hey.
And so I'm always going to be in the street. That's where I come from. I come from a harlot and a sinner. This is who I am.
My people.
This is my people. So I don't feel bad when they outcast me or say I'm an outcast. That's actually what. Well, here's my story. Say, come back now. Y'all taking me somewhere. Now let's come back. Now watch this. So here it is. Samuel has turned that oil thing over, and now it done drenched David. David goes right back to the back side, back to keep the sheep.
Yeah.
16. Now listen to 16 years.
Wow.
16 years from Samuel douse. Is douse a good word? I could use douse. Radio and Facebook douse. If you're from the country, you got me. Dousing him, pouring, submerging him with that oil. 16 years. You know the things that he went through.
Yeah, amen.
Now a hit on his life by his mentor.
Amen.
The people that he tried to save now trying to kill him. Y'all got to hear me. And so 16 years from the time the oil flow to the time that he actually walked in power. Now hear me. Now just because you just had a visitation don't mean that everything's smooth sailing.
Right.
There's a period that's going to teach you something. And so when David gets this oil poured on him, now he's technically the king.
Correct.
But he's in waiting, in holding. And so 16 years of turmoil that he's got to go through to prove that you're ready to actually walk in. Now, in the process, we know that in 1 Samuel chapter number 22, he's running from Saul, whom he had saved from Goliath. He's running, and he finds himself in the cave of Adullam. Y'all hear me? That cave go again. Jacob was in that rocky place. David is in the cave. Both of them are chosen to do specifics by God. Here's this. He's in held up in the cave of Adullam. The text says that when his father and his family heard that he was in the cave, they went down there. Now, here's what is interesting. 1 Samuel 22, verse number 2. I want to read that to you because I need you to see this. For those of you that are in a rough and tough and difficult, you're accustomed to living in palace, but now you're held up in a cave.
Come on.
Yeah. That's how I know him.
No, watch this. And everyone that was in, watch this. Now, this is 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse number 2. It says, and everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontented gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them, and there were with him about 40 men. Listen to what the text has said. You hiding and you running, and you think that you're nobody, but God sends the distressed, he sends the discontented, and he also sends the people that are in debt. Here's what God does. He says, while you're searching for your kingdom, I'm going to send people that are broken. God is the only one that can use broken people to help other people get in.
Amen.
Because it's not about who you are. It's about your obedience. But here's ultimately what the text is saying. He's held up into the cave of Adullam, and there, it says, and there he became captain. So what the Lord is saying to you, you got to become captain of this cave before you become king of the kingdom.
Right there.
If you can't embrace the right now, you're going to have a problem with where I'm trying to take you.
Amen.
So for those of you that are in journey right now in this rough, he says, I'm just making you captain where you are. I'm going to send people that you're going to minister to.
Yes.
God is the only one that takes imperfect people and perfect people.
Amen.
You saying and praying about your dilemma. And he says, if you want me to heal you, let me give you an assignment.
Amen.
Ooh, because the enemy going to come to you and say, who are you to think? Who are you to think that God is going to use you after all the things I've been through?
Amen.
This should build your faith.
Yes.
Because after all the things you've been through and you still looking at them, that's a declaration that God has got your back. So now what we're in is this: hurry up and wait. That's where faith fails. Because God said, I'm great, but I'm in this hurry up and wait. How can God say I'm great and I live in a hurry up and wait? I've been rushed to sit still and be patient. Now, it says, run this race with
patience.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Either you're going to run away.
Which one?
He says, both.
Yeah. You got to keep going.
Like radio, both of them.
Yeah.
Run with patience. You're telling me to hurry up and do what? Wait.
Amen.
Because this process of wait is waiting you. Yeah. Wait your turn.
Yes. Experience.
Now, listen, wait. Not W-A-I-T, but W-E-I-G-A. Put some weight while you're waiting. Get your weight up.
Yeah.
There's some things that you're going to experience that's going to give you some experience. That's going to allow you to put some weight on it because your turn is coming.
Amen.
And your weight that you put in while you was waiting will let your turn become into a long term.
Yes.
Your turn, they're going to call your name, and your experience and your learning will determine your turn. How long will you be able to sit in this spot? That's what God is doing. He's training right now. While the enemy is trying to make you complain, God says, I'm in here to train. Yes. Don't complain in this season. Look up and live. So in this period, you'll experience emotions and go through multitudes of emotions. It's up days and down days. The plight of every prophet in Scripture is depression and melancholy. Why? Because I got to hurry up and wait. God just spoke something out of me that the world haven't heard, and I know it's going to come to pass, but I see no evidence. So now everybody think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy. Why did I say what I just said? Why did? Because you were led, and your spirit is obedient, so you say things that no evidence is seen yet, and so people might question. But all you do is hold on.
Yeah, that's it.
All you do is just
speaking.
Continue. I pray for a spirit of continue.
Yes.
To overflow you. To continue. To be consistent.
Yeah. And persistent.
There's a consistent spirit. Yeah. That even if you can't trace him, you still trust him.
Yeah.
Now sometimes you're going to question yourself in this period. I got to talk to people that are strange, that are in journey. I don't want the enemy to come in and with confusion. You question your call in this season. All of the greats question that call. Me? Really? How can I?
All of the Hall of Faith.
All of the Hall of They question. Because they said something that they don't see.
Yeah.
And it's like, Lord. And the enemy does his best work for people that don't live by faith. You say you live by faith, but when God spoke something and it's outside of your ability to perform and it ain't happening, now you're questioning, am I the one? Or should I be searching for one? Should I be looking for another me? Maybe God is not talking to me. Maybe he's looking for another me.
And I need to tell somebody.
Watch this. In this time, listen to me. These are all keys to this journey. It's called strange. But at the end, there's a major blessing. Here's another key to this journey. Hear me. Hear me. You will be used by people that you think got your best interests in mind. This is a vulnerable season. You're sowing some seeds that you didn't desire to sow. They are definitely seeds.
Yeah. You'll
be used. I need you to hear me because we get this inkling from God and we think everything is perfect and now we're disappointed and we think that we're not. We're questioning ourselves. We're looking at, did God say this? And now we're being used by people because they see that you got the gift, but you can't place yourself right now. And so they're going to take advantage of it. Right. They will. They'll prophesy as much as you need to prophesy. Here, God said you're going to do everything for me. You got money? And you say, this is God's money? Well, I'm God's man, God's person. Give me everything you got. I mean, it is. I just want to be very clear.
Yeah,
on
they
that.
out there. Yeah.
They out there, and it happened. And so I was thinking about Jacob in this journey, and how he says this is Genesis chapter 31, because he was sent to Laban, and he worked 7 years to get Rachel, and then of course he was given Leah. Now he got to work 7 more years to get
the one he loved.
right, and then listen, then he worked 6 more years. Now watch this now.
Yeah.
Thank you, boy.
Yeah.
This is off the script.
Yeah.
I just felt something right there. Now he's worked a total of 20 years.
There's a blessing.
He ended up in 2020.
Yeah.
And God said, now it's time for you to bust a move.
Amen.
This is interesting season right
Amen.
now. Listen, 20.
Amen.
He worked 14 years. And then he worked another 6 to get to where he could live his dream.
Yes.
Listen to me very closely. We are entering into that space right now.
Yes,
Second
we are.
Chronicles 2020. If you believe in the Lord your God, so shall you be established. But if you hear the words that's coming out of Pastor G's mouth, you are about to prosper, not
Great
because
grace.
of what I said, because of the word of the Lord that's coming out of my mouth. Jacob worked, and now he's in the 20th year.
Yes.
And now it's time for, how does he know it's time for him to require to be released from Laban's house? Is because he's finally given birth to Joseph by Rachel.
Dream.
And this was so interesting, right? Because Rachel was the first thing he saw. It was his first love. He done went through Leah and having kids and their servants, Rachel's servants. But now when Joseph is born, it's actually God giving birth to the thing that he loved first.
Yes.
God is about to birth you again to the thing that he originally showed you. He's going to give you birth there. Joseph was a birth with his first love. What I originally showed you is what I'm allowing you to give. That's why he loved Joseph.
Yes.
Not because of any other thing, but finally,
Yes.
God has given me birth with my first love.
Yes.
And so now I'm moving. So now he's got to go to Laban and demand that it's time for me to find my own thing. Because when God gives you birth, don't abort the birth by staying in the old place.
My God.
Because the old place can't facilitate what he just gave you. Because what you're about to give birth to is actually going to lead you and your whole family into your next life. Joseph was the key to the life of Israel being saved in the time of struggle. And so we have got to be, but you will be used by people that you think, Laban, he says to his father-in-law, you have changed my wages 10 times. You changed up on me. And it said, if it had not been for the God of my fathers, you would still be taking advantage of me. But now you see something on me. And I won't allow you in this next season. I love you, but I won't allow you.
Yeah.
I love you, but I can't leave
I
you.
love you.
I've got to go and do now what God said. That's whether you're upset. You know what? God gave Jacob a strategy in this moment. He gave him a strategy. He told him how, because he says, okay, your son say I stole from you. Well, here's what we're going to do. Let's make a deal.
All right.
I'll keep your sheep like I done
Right.
and protect it. You take, and I'm going to separate this. Everything that come out speckled is mine. And Laban said, boy, this boy is such a fool. You gonna tell that these things don't even come out like that.
Right.
That's all you want?
Right.
Well, fair deal. Well, God gave him a strategy.
Amen.
And the text says, read the scripture down, because it's interesting how it says that in that season, only the speckled cows jumped up in the position to give birth.
Oh.
So in this season of people misusing you, God said, I give you a strategy
Amen.
that's going to work when people think they're using you. Somebody needs to shout right there, because you downloaded a strategy in this season.
Amen. Amen. Steps been ordered, pre-ordered.
It's so much stuff there. Now let me move on. Are y'all listening to me? You're about to get a strategy download into your life that you never thought you were. It had to be in the hard place because it was too hard for you to do.
Yes.
God accustomed you to the hard things. So he wanted you to be familiar with the hard things happening in your life. Is there anything too hard for you? Is there anything too hard for you?
No, sir.
No,
sir.
No. So now one visitation gets him to this point. Now it's time for another visitation. Now I got to paraphrase because I got to go. So you know, text when Jacob is in journey now. He's left the house of Laban. Now he's on to pursue his own dream. Still apprehensive. Still don't know how. But listen to me. In the 32nd chapter of Genesis 32, verse number 24. Now you know here's the most recognizable part of Jacob's life is the angel. Listen to me now. The angel experience. But you know, Pastor G, I got to look at that angel experience because I got to show you something here, because this is interesting that when we get to this angel experience, what I say, Genesis chapter 32 verse what 24. Let's look at that real quick, because I need some people that are in journey right now that's got the Jacob experience. You done had some roughness, some hard places. Now's the day of your deliverance, because God is giving you birth and He's ready for you to move. Now watch this. Here it is. He had one visitation to cause the journey to start, and now he's about to have another visitation. Listen to me. There's another visitation. There's one to negotiate, and then this one is to solidify.
All right.
Yeah.
Negotiate. Now solidify. Now Jacob, when he gets up in the original vision and dream, he says, "This is Bethel, the house of God." I almost didn't recognize because of the difficulties of the place, right? And now he's about to have another visitation where this is a re-identification season, because you've been living on the run. You've been living under other people's ideals of man. Yeah. And now watch this. Watch this. Is important. It says Jacob was left alone. Now, interesting. This is the season that God is going to separate you from things. It's a time of left alone. Don't you get it twisted, people that have gone through rough times. Your rejection was for your protection.
Yes, sir.
Your rejection was for a change of direction. You got to
Amen.
get, if you're alone, you're more than enough.
Yeah.
Because God have not revealed to you the people that's going to go further with you. You've seen people that you struggle with to get here. Now there's people that's going to pull their weight in your next season. Now watch this. Jacob was left alone. Now here's what I want you to see, because this is important. Here's what I want you to see. Importance. Here's what I want you to see. Now look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It says, what I say, 32nd verse? 24th. What I say, 24th verse. 24. What's that at? I got it. It said, and Jacob was left alone. He was separated, right? Mm-hmm. And there wrestled. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
There wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. Now listen to me real closely. I know we said angel, but the Bible says what?
Amen.
I think it constructed this like this intentionally, because your wrestle ain't with God. It's always going to be with man.
Always.
When it's time for a re-identification, there's going to be men that's going to wrestle you to keep you like you were. So there wrestled a man with him. Your greatest struggle is with man. Now watch this. This is the time of a revisitation again. First time was to give you direction and assure. This time is to solidify. Right. And so now he's separated himself, right? And now he's having a wrestle with the man. Now later in this text we discover that it's an angel. Mm-hmm. Now Jacob is saying, I'm not going to let go until you bless me. That's a sign that he didn't know who he was. Yeah. You left the house with the blessing. Come on. You done lived this whole time because you experienced a couple of things. You thought you had lost the blessing. He says, I can't bless you no more than you're already blessed. So let me change your name so that you can live the life that you live. Amen. That's all he's saying. He says, let me change your name so you can live the life that you now currently need to live. And there's a name change and a re-identification of many right now, because there's a life that has held you bound. And so then this visitation was with an angel eventually, but he was wrestling with men and almost missed it because he couldn't identify. And so the angel said, let me step in to re-identify. Why? Because before you can really wrestle the Esau's that you've been running from your entire life, who are family members, you got to have a spiritual battle first. So he separates you to win in the spirit, so now you can face the Esau's that you're about to face when the new day breaks out. But if you did not have this spiritual visitation, you won't deal with the Esau. Now listen to me. I need you to hear me. Everybody under the sound of my voice got an Esau that you've been running from. Yes. Jacob is sending gifts to Esau. Yes. Because he didn't know who he was. Yes. He's making concessions with something that God had already made clear that you're the boss. And you didn't know that God had told. And so finally Esau gets to Jacob and he said, what are all these gifts that you sent me? He says, because I wronged you. He says, wronged me? What are you talking
Come
about?
on.
You've been running from something that you've seen in your own mind. Initially, I wanted the kid because that was me being a pawn in God's plan to get you out the house.
Yes.
Once you got out the house, I was good.
Yes.
God release me. I'm blessed like you are.
Yeah. So you holding a grudge and they
You don't even know. Because in your eyes, you thought that you were still little. God had already dealt with those persons.
Yes.
The person that you thought you had to make concessions for, that you had to bow down to. He says, no, I called you to be the king.
Yes.
And you've been running your whole life. You have lived. You put yourself in predicaments and circumstances based off your misinformedness about who you are.
Amen.
And now I got to let you meet again the Esau's that you've been running from because I'm ready for life. You got to put this to bed. You got to confront this thing. This is a season that many are going to confront.
Amen.
You got to confront what you've been running from. And you've already been empowered to overcome what you thought was bigger than you. Because you got an ordination in your life. So he deals with Esau. Esau says, yeah, as a matter of fact, let me protect you as you journey. Because I'm supposed to be under your direction anyway.
Yeah.
Now watch this. So Jacob goes back to the place of his altar. Now I said this last time, your altar will alter.
Yes.
You better make sure your altar, because it's the thing that alters the life.
Yes.
So he goes back to the altar. Now he since he's re-identified, no longer will you be called Jacob, you're going to be called Israel. Mm-hmm. Since he's re-identified, now he's got to re-identify the altar. Mm-hmm. Now the altar originally was called Bethel. Mm-hmm. Now he says the altar is named El.
Bethel.
Because of my journey. Now let me explain that. Because he says, surely the Lord is in this place, and I almost not recognize. This is the house of the Lord. Mm-hmm. So he's in the house, but he don't recognize whose house it is. He says, I missed it. But now he's going through the journey. He done seen God change him. He done went through some experience. He says, now it's El Bethel. Not only do I recognize it's God's house, I recognize the God of the house.
Right.
So
Amen.
this is the place where we meet.
Amen.
I have face-to-face conversation with the one that has given me my ordination. And now I'm coming with confidence. Because I'm going to have to bless some people here. Yeah. I got to lay my hands on some folk. Yeah. I am the father of many nations. And I can't have the nations that come after me not know who they are, because I never knew who I was. And so God sent me through extreme situations, because out of my loins are going to come many people that's going to experience strange situation. You know, David, the one that was in debt, depressed, discontented. You're going to deal with some depressed people. You got to recognize that I was too. You're going to deal with people that was in debt. You changed my weight just 10 times. I'm just trying to get it. And you got to admit, you're going to deal with some people that's discontented. I'm living somewhere that I'm bigger than.
Yes.
And you experience all of this. Why? Because God is going to allow you to minister to people. Mm-hmm. To some people. He's going to allow you to minister to people. And you got to understand that this was all set up.
Yes.
By God. Set up.
Yes.
By God. While the enemy is fighting your mind, God is setting your place. While the enemy is fighting your mind, God says, I am setting you up. I am setting you up. So now what is happening now? We come to a place where we discover that we have been apprehended by something. It's been chasing me for quite some time. The journey's been long, difficult. But we're going to say like Paul, now that have been apprehending me, I'm going to turn around and apprehend again. I'm coming into agreement. I'm coming into agreement with God. I'm coming into agreement with God, because it's my season to be bigger than what I've ever been before. Are y'all listening to me? This is a season that you have never, ever encountered before. I'm talking to people that have encountered some great seasons. This is a season that you have never, ever encountered before. This is the season that God has given birth in the very rocky place. In the displacement, God is going to give you a placement. He's going to allow you to go back to the place. Jesus could have never been introduced on the level that he was introduced on when we read Luke 4. He says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Mm-hmm. That was after
one.
the temptation.
Yeah.
That's the 18th verse, but we go to
Yeah.
verse number 1. There was the temptation season. And the Bible says that after the temptation season, the devil left him for a
Season.
That doesn't mean that he left and then he coming back. That means that a season began.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of a season. And then the Bible says that he returned to his country.
Yeah.
The places that the prophet didn't have honor in. But because you went through the test, now they're going to say, wow.
Yeah.
And he returned in, I always say we have to see this. The Bible starts this text off by saying Jesus being full of the Holy Ghost was pushed in or led into the wilderness. They're tempted.
Yeah.
When it ends, it says now he leads with the power.
Power.
You can be full of something and not ever recognize the
Amen.
power of it.
Yes.
And so when you go through experiences, what you are full of, now you know how to work it.
Authority.
But that comes through struggle.
Yeah.
That comes through the things. It awakens thing in you, and so you return to the places that everybody discredited you. Your family. You go back, and your tests and trials because they watch you in hopes that you fail. But when they see you win, now they embrace you again. Like, wow, I knew you had something in you. You hear
All
your
the
entire
time. All
life.
the time.
You hear your whole life.
The whole time.
Boy.
I already knew.
And then all of a sudden, once you succeed, oh boy, I knew it all the time. I could see it on you every time you came to my house. I could see it. I could see it on you. So, but we don't get caught up there.
Right.
We stay focused on the destiny that God has given us. We keep our eyes on the prize, even in the days that we don't feel like it. Faith ain't about feeling.
Amen.
Faith ain't about feeling.
Or emotions.
Or
any
emotions.
of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We go for purpose over preference.
Yes.
I got a preference, but purpose always going to rule over my preference. God, whatever your will is.
Right.
And you know, Jesus, when he prayed to God and didn't hear the answer in the garden, finally he says, nevertheless.
Yeah.
Nevertheless.
You know what it was?
Not my preference, but your
But
preference.
yours.
But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Nevertheless. Because if I obey God, I
Never,
never
ever,
have to
ever.
live with less again.
Amen.
Never.
Nevertheless.
Nevertheless comes with me saying, yes, Lord, amen. I don't know how. But if I'm pre-qualified, I know you're going to take me to the place that you always promised me. So this is a promise season. Father, thank you right now for this incredible time of sharing. Thank you so much for your word being God, your word. Thank you for living in your word. Bless the people, Lord. Heal the minds and the hearts of the people right now.
Deliver, Lord.
You will in this season. Bring them out of the dilemma. In Jesus' name. Now, for those of you that want to share, listen, I need your help real quick. I need you to go to my Cash App, NOBC. Help us keep this radio broadcast going. We need your help. If you are loving what you're hearing, is blessing you, please sow a seed into this ministry. We will greatly appreciate it. That's NOBC. Put under the Reason radio broadcast, so we'll know that this money should go to radio broadcast. That's NOBC. Cash App NOBC. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
God
so
bless you.
much. Thank you so much. Pre-qualified people, go for it. Go for it.
All right. You've been listening to Lunchtime Up.
All right, Facebook people, thank you so much again for being a part of it. Please, y'all sow into this radio ministry. Thank you so much. If you coming in late, please go back and hear this whole entire text. It's important. It's important. Not because I said it, because it's God saying something. And he's trying to lead us into something. This is a very crucial season. Sunday morning, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about times. I'm going to give real definition on time. I kind of touched on it Tuesday, but Sunday, I'm going to teach on it again. I'm going to teach on the Kairos. I'm going to teach on the Chronos. And then I'm going to talk on the Herios. And give a definition there, because that's important. We need to seize this moment. There's a moment that's set before us, Jacob. We need to see. I preached so hard that I tore the pages out of my Bible. I tore the pages. I ripped the page. I mean, I let them rip. I ripped the pages out of my Bible. So thank you guys so much. Please share. Everybody, Pastor Angela, Kimberly, Clark, thank you guys so much. Jennifer Tadlock, thank you so much. Apostle John Harris, blessing the senior marriage deal last night. Who else is in the house? Reginald Forte, thank you so much for being in the house. Andrew Lewis Shivers, thank you. Camille, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I said Jennifer Tadlock already, right? Valerie Brown, my sister, is in the house. Thank you, Valerie. Pastor Melinda down there, thank you. My sister Sheila's in the house. My friend Apostle Victor Wynn, Remnant Church here in Little Rock. Blessings. Charles, Pastor Charles, my youth pastor's in the house. Donald Randall, blessings, man. Blessings. Bishop Fred Harris, thank you. Carol Swanigan, thank you so much for being in the house. Pastor Ronetta Rockamore, thank you so much for being in the house. Angela Coleman, Latanya Scruggs Brown, thank you so much for being in the house. Who else is here? Joyce, thank you. Everybody that tuned in. Blessings upon blessings.
Bless you.
Upon blessings upon blessings. Pastor Nolan, I will see you this weekend.
Yep,
Dallas,
this
NOBD.
Monday, Dallas.
Yes, NOBD. Yes. For those of you that are in Little Rock, you don't want to miss Sunday morning. I'm telling you, there's an unlocking this time period. I need to talk on that priesthood. That
And we're taking it by force.
Taking it by force, man. It's that time. It's time for us to aggressively go after. Thank you, Pastor Angela, NOB Atlanta. Thank you so much. She says, great message. Greatness. Thank you so much. Thank you for every time I speak, you put out publications letting people know. And you know, she preaching on it.
Yeah.
She preaching on the slide too. She preaching her little, she's getting her little.
Get it in, girl.
Yeah.
And you read my text to you last night. It's time. Pastor Angela, read my text from last night. Set me up, Lord. That's right, Jennifer. Tell him to set you up, and he will set you up. Thank God. All right. We're out of here. Blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon blessings.
Bless.
Go to my YouTube page. This will be uploaded. Pastor G at Network of Believers. Go to YouTube. Go read. Go hear. Listen. Thank you. Bye-bye.